They laughed at her clothes. They dumped coffee on her desk. They called her worthless. But the woman they tried to belittle wasn't just a quiet back-office number cruncher with scuffed shoes. She was the wife of a billionaire. And the moment they went too far, he showed up, and their entire little world came crashing down. Welcome to True Life Stories. If you're new here, tap subscribe, hit the like button, and don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's begin. The elevator. Doors parted with a soft ding, spilling sterile white light onto the marble floor of Heart Marketing Solutions. Jasmine Carter stepped out. Her footsteps were barely audible, flats worn thin from years of quiet labor. A weathered tote bag pulled against her shoulder. She moved like someone used to being overlooked. Around her, the office pulsed like a living ad campaign. Glass-walled meetings, curated fashion, rehearsed laughter, and coffee orders longer than elevator rides. The logo on the back wall, heart in towering chrome, felt more ironic than aspirational. Everyone looked the part. Everyone performed except Jasmine. She wore her favorite gray cardigan, soft from age, not style. Her blouse was plain, floral, sensible. Her hair pulled back without effort. No glam, no shine, no interest in playing their game. She arrived at her desk far from the spotlight, tucked near the windows like an afterthought. The sigh she released wasn't relief. It was escape. She booted up her laptop, aligned her pens, breathed into her routine. Then she saw it, a sticky note on her monitor. Smile more. Their jaw tensed. Tiana. Again. Jasmine crushed the note and dropped it in the bin. She reached into her bag, pulled out lunch in a container. Chickpeas, spinach, homemade vinaigrette, humble, healthy. Hers. Across the room, Tiana's laugh, sharp and hollow. Mark's voice, louder than necessary as always. Lauren, snapping selfies like they were job qualifications. Jasmine stayed focused. Numbers never judged, spreadsheets never sneered. Nice sweater, Jazz, Tiana chirped, syrupy fake. Did you dig it out of a thrift shop sale bin? Snickers followed. Jasmine didn't glance up. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, calm, methodical. She'd learned long ago silence could be louder than words, but the air in the office had shifted. The cruelty felt charged. Whispers snapped quicker. Laughter turned sharper. She felt it like static before a lightning strike. I swear, Tiana said loudly from a few desks away, pretending to flip through a pitch folder. If I ever had to wear clearance shoes, I'd call in sick. I mean, what's the point? Mark piped up. Hey now, don't shame the unwashed masses. Let them have their oatmeal sweaters. Then Lauren chimed in with venom wrapped in sugar. I saw someone eating tuna from a Ziploc in the break room yesterday. Is that what sadness smells like? That one stung. Jasmine had eaten that sandwich. Alone. Quiet. And apparently, observably, she kept her face neutral. They didn't hurt her. Not anymore. What stung was the effort they put into cruelty. Like her silence offended them. Like her dignity made them itch. Hey, Jasmine, Mark called out suddenly, louder now. Did you ride the bus today, or did your imaginary billionaire husband finally send a limo? Tiana added. She's married to Excel spreadsheets, probably slow dances with bar graphs. This time, Jasmine turned, not fast, not flustered. She looked Mark dead in the eye, not angry, not shaken, just tired. The look you give a child who doesn't realize they're being ridiculous. Then she smiled, barely, just enough to unsettle, and turned back to her screen. Mark blinked. The room shifted, but petty people rarely stop. While Jasmine was in a client meeting, Tiana struck. She accidentally tipped her overstuffed caramel macchiato with whipped cream and syrup drizzle across Jasmine's desk. Coffee soaked everything. Reports, charts, annotated briefs, all the materials Jasmine had painstakingly assembled for a major client pitch. By the time Jasmine returned, the mess was spreading like an oil slick. Her work, saturated, weeks of preparation, ruined. She didn't scream, she didn't cry, she just stared, not at the coffee but through it. like she'd just seen something snap into place. Because it had. What no one in that office knew, not Tiana, not Mark, not the HR rep who never responded to Jasmine's quiet complaints, was that Jasmine wasn't alone. Her husband, not just wealthy, billionaire level, powerful. And that day, he came in, no warning, no theatrics, just a presence that silenced the room as soon as he walked through the doors. He looked around the marble and glass, the posturing, the performance. Then he spoke. "I'm looking for the person who vandalized my wife's workspace." Silence. HR scrambled. Managers panicked. Tiana turned pale. By morning, desks had been cleared, files deleted, apologies sent, names removed from the company roster. Jasmine didn't gloat. She simply returned to her seat. Clean desk, clean slate, quiet power. She logged in and kept working. That's the story of Jasmine Carter, the woman they thought was invisible until the storm she carried broke their world apart. Thanks for watching True Life Stories. If this story moved you, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. Until next time, never mistake quiet for weakness, and never mock the woman who walks with purpose. You have no idea who walks beside her. Her notebook, her mother's gift, delicate with pressed flowers sealed beneath its cover, was now warped, soaked through, curling at the corners like something left out in the storm. "Oh my God, my bad," Tiana announced, towering over the wreckage, holding the empty cup like a trophy. Not a flicker of urgency, not a trace of remorse. "Tripped over my heel, I'm such a klutz." Mark popped his head over the cubicle wall with performative shock. "Yikes, that looks pricey for someone without a company card." Lauren, always armed with her camera-ready phone, snapped a shot of the spilled coffee. "Perfect for my Monday mood post," she said, grinning. Jasmine swallowed, hard. The heat flooding her neck wasn't fury. It was containment. Her hands twitched at her sides. Her pulse thrummed in her ears. Still, she said nothing. She just stood, walked calmly to the break room, and returned with paper towels. As she cleaned, they watched her the way children observe insects, curious, detached, cruel. Even Amy from HR peeked over her screen but said nothing. That was the rot, not the meanness, the silence that let it grow. By 5:43 p.m., the lights had dimmed. The office had emptied. Jasmine sat alone. The mess was gone, but the ghost of caramel and cream haunted the air. She stared at the city's fractured lights beyond the rain-slick glass. She wasn't angry, not yet. But something inside her was shifting, and it had nothing to do with forgiveness. Friday crept in like a weather system. Gray skies pressed against the high-rises of downtown Chicago. In her far corner of Heart Marketing Solutions, Jasmine Carter watched rain crawl down the windows like slow-moving ash. She liked rain. It made the world hush, made the city seem honest for once. But inside, the air was thick with something unspoken. Tension, exclusion. Laughter rang too loud. Someone had ordered takeout and shared only with their favorites. Performances bloomed across the bullpen. Once again, Jasmine was not cast. She kept her eyes on the report. Bloom Cosmetics. Her work was excellent. She'd spotted a hole in their segmentation model that would save thousands in ad spend. Still, she knew no one would acknowledge it until someone else took credit. Tiana leaned on Lauren's chair, phone in hand. "Wait, this TikTok, dead ass. You have to see it," she said, barely stifling her laughter. Lauren peeked and cracked up. "That is so Jasmine," she wheezed. "Look at how she eats. That same awkward try-not-to-be-here vibe." Jasmine looked up. Reflex. Regret. Their eyes met. Tiana's, Lauren's, Mark's. None of them flinched. Tiana smirked. Jasmine exhaled through her nose, turned back to the screen. Time passed in fragments. 5 minutes or 50. She couldn't tell. Her vision blurred. Her throat tightened. Something swelled in her chest. Heat. Pressure. Something dangerous, but still unnamed. She clicked through spreadsheets. Then it happened. A sharp splat. Cold soaked her right side. Jasmine flinched. Her gray cardigan clung to her skin, dripping. A red trail of soda streaked her arm, puddling at the edge of her keyboard. A Coke can rolled lazily to a stop near her mouse. Across from her, Tiana stood, arm half lowered, as if tossing the can had been casual. "Oops," she cooed. "Thought you looked thirsty." Jasmine rose slowly. The office hushed, not silent, still, like the pause before lightning strikes. Mark snorted. "Jesus, can't even take a joke." Lauren lifted her phone, already recording. "Oh no, this is gold," she giggled. "Say bye to your dignity, loser." Jasmine's face burned. Her heart pounded. But she didn't cry. Not yet. Hands trembling. She scanned the room. No one intervened. Not the project manager. Not Amy from HR. Not even the CEO's assistant. Everyone saw. No one acted. Then Mark kicked her chair. It spun. Papers scattered. Her mug, his mug, hit the floor and cracked. Lauren laughed. Tiana leaned in. "You don't belong here," she hissed. "This isn't a soup kitchen." Jasmine didn't move. Couldn't. Her fists clenched so tight her nails bit skin. She looked at the shattered mug. Ceramic shards. Coffee dripping. The words still legible on the side. "Think deeply. Speak softly. Act kindly." She bent down, retrieved the broken handle, and placed it on her desk like a relic, then lifted her eyes to Tiana. Unblinking. "You're right," she said, voice steady, quiet, but it landed like a gavel. "I don't belong here." Tiana blinked. Just a flicker. Jasmine turned. She didn't run. She walked, past the desks, through the doors, into the hallway. No one followed. No one laughed now. They didn't see the man waiting around the corner. Nathan Pierce, charcoal coat, rain-damp shoulders, calm as gravity. Jasmine saw him and, for the first time that day, exhaled. The door sealed behind her. With a final metallic click, she leaned against the stairwell door. Let the hush surround her. Breathed. Then came his voice. "Jasmine." She opened her eyes. He was already near. Leaning against the far wall. Arms crossed. Overcoat half unbuttoned. Watching her like someone searching for bruises, his gaze dropped to her sleeve, still wet with soda. "Again?" he asked. She nodded. Tried not to cry. Not here. Not with him. But there was something in the way he looked at her. Not with pity, but understanding. That made her throat ache. He stepped forward, reaching into his coat. A real handkerchief. Blue. Monogrammed. NP. She laughed softly. "Of course you still carry one of those." He smiled, but it didn't touch his eyes. Of course." He dabbed her sleeve. They stood like that, encased in stairwell silence. She took the handkerchief. "It's not that bad," she said, though she didn't believe it. Nathan straightened. "If someone threw a drink at me in my company, they'd be out the door before it dried." "It's not your company," she said gently. "It's mine. My role. My battle. My call." His jaw tightened. "I waited because you asked me to. But this isn't a lesson anymore. It's abuse." She turned, gripped the railing, stared down the concrete spiral. "I just wanted to be normal, to earn respect, to do real work without being someone's shadow." He was quiet. "You've done more with restraint," he said finally, "than I've done with billions." She wiped her eyes, laughed quietly. "You fund oceans and cure diseases with your pocket change. Don't flatter me." "I'm not." She turned. "They're not going to respect me," she said. "They never learned how." "I tried to stay quiet," she whispered. "Now, I think they want me to quit. His eyes darkened. Then they've picked the wrong target. A heavy pause. Something unspoken passed between them. Jasmine breathed in the sterile air. Nathan. But he was already dialing. Who? Elliot. I want full acquisition numbers by noon. Acquisition? He nodded. I looked into it weeks ago. Quietly. Heart's owned by a hedge group. I can dismantle it in 3 calls. I didn't act because you said not to. But you never said I had to let them break you. She grabbed his hand. Stop the call. I don't need rescuing, she said, voice shaking. I need you with me, just this once. Let me decide what comes next. He looked at her a long time, then lowered the phone. Okay. The word didn't feel like surrender. It felt like trust. She touched her bag, the mug handle still inside. Something had shattered today, but something else had taken root, a flicker of fire. Come home, Nathan said. Just for the weekend. No meetings, no strategy, just us. She hesitated, then nodded. As they stepped into the drizzle, Jasmine realized Monday wouldn't see the same woman return. Not the quiet one in the corner, but the one they'd underestimated and would never overlook again. The rain had thickened, drumming against the windshield in rhythm with the muted whisper of tires rolling across wet pavement. Nathan remained silent, not out of indifference but out of instinct. He could feel the heaviness clinging to her shoulders. He always could. Their house came into view like a beacon through fog, a structure of glass and timber nestled against the lake's edge, as if it had grown from the shoreline instead of being constructed. Warm light shimmered from the expansive windows, spilling gold across the surface of the water. Jasmine stepped inside, the strap of her bag slipping from her shoulder. It landed with a quiet thump. Nathan shrugged off his coat, loosened his tie, and followed her into the kitchen without a word. She reached up to the cupboard and retrieved a familiar mug. Not the cracked one, but its surviving twin, the one from the pair he'd bought when they first moved in. She began filling the kettle, then froze midway, her eyes catching her distorted reflection in the dark window pane. The rain warped her face until she barely recognized herself, like staring at someone she used to be. Nathan leaned against the counter behind her, arms folded, waiting. I always thought staying silent was strength, she said finally. It is, he replied. But even steel buckles under pressure. She left the kettle unfinished. It wasn't just today, she murmured. It's been building. Every meeting. Every snide comment, every time they look at me like I'm less, I vanish a little more. He stepped closer. Then let's bring you back into focus. She turned to him, voice lower. You want to fix it? Yes. Then not for me, she said. With me. He flinched, not from guilt, but recognition. She pulled something from her bag, a jagged ceramic handle. She placed it between them on the counter. This broke today, but I started breaking long before that. I thought I had to earn their respect without your name trailing behind me. But I wasn't earning anything. I was just surviving. Nathan's jaw clenched. I hate what they've done to you. I hate what I allowed, she said quietly. I thought enduring made me worthy. He shook his head. You did what you thought was right. You took the harder path like you always do. Silence settled around them, dense but not empty. She moved into the living room, the lake framed in darkness beyond the glass. The scent of lavender lingered from the diffuser. The fireplace crackled, untouched. Her cardigan was still damp. She wrapped her arms around herself. Nathan hovered in the doorway. She didn't face him when she spoke again. The worst part? She whispered. I wasn't even shocked. What do you mean? I expected it. The soda, the names, the video. Part of me saw it coming. I braced for it every day. That's not resilience. That's just fear in disguise. Nathan stepped into the room. And yet you stood your ground. Until today. Until I cracked, she said. And you were still there. He pulled his phone from his pocket. Nathan, she warned. He raised a hand. It's not an ambush, not yet. She turned toward him, brow furrowed. I sent the video to a lawyer, just in case. And I made a call to Elizabeth Granger. She's forming a new advisory board on ethics in tech. She asked about you last year. You remembered? Jasmine asked. I didn't give her your number, he said gently, but I could. She blinked, caught in quiet disbelief. Or, he continued, you can walk back into that office Monday and remind them who they've been underestimating. A flicker of a smile pulled at her lips. I'm not interested in revenge, she said softly. Good, he replied. This isn't about revenge. It's about restoration. He ran his fingers down her damp sleeve. Let them see the real you, Jasmine, not the version you've had to shrink to survive. She looked up at him, not with dread but clarity. Nathan? Yes? I want to go back Monday. He smiled, slow and sure. Then we'll go back Monday. She stepped toward him. No, I'll go back alone. He nodded, slowly, with reverence. Then he let her go. Monday arrived in shades of silver and gold, the storm dissolving in the night. Sunlight spilled through the clouds in uneven ribbons scattering across the lake like coins dropped from the sky. Jasmine stood before the mirror, fastening the last button on her cream blouse. Cardigan, the one ruined by soda now washed and mended, sat folded on the bed. She wouldn't be wearing it. Instead, she wore a tailored black blazer. Not flashy, not designer, but deliberate. Her hair was pinned in a sleek twist. Small gold hoops adorned her ears. No armor, just precision, just intent. Nathan stood in the bedroom doorway watching quietly. He knew better than to interrupt. This wasn't a morning. It was a departure. Before leaving, she turned to him. In her hand was the broken mug handle. I don't need this anymore, she said. He kissed her forehead and let her walk out alone. Heart Marketing Solutions buzzed with its usual artificial energy. Shallow smiles, empty chatter. Tiana was already at her desk, lips glossed, nails gleaming. Lauren lounged at the coffee bar, filming herself. Mark bragged about his weekend on Tinder like it was newsworthy. They hadn't noticed her yet. Jasmine entered without hesitation. Her shoes tapped softly but firmly across the tile. Sam, the receptionist, blinked. Oh, Jasmine, you're in early. I know, she said, holding his gaze for a breath before continuing. Tiana noticed her next, eyes narrowing. Not in remorse. In calculation. Lauren leaned in to whisper to Mark. He snickered. Jasmine sat, turned on her monitor, logged in. There it was, an email flagged urgent. From Legal Affairs. Subject, immediate HR investigation, staff misconduct. She scanned it, allowed herself the faintest smile, then one by one their screens lit up. Tiana, Mark, Lauren, confusion, then alarm. Lauren sprang up, coffee spilling. Mark laughed nervously. Tiana kept clicking as if repetition would rewrite reality. Jasmine stood. Is there a problem? She asked coolly. What did you just do? Tiana snapped. I submitted the video, Jasmine said. And Lauren's too. That's not permitted, Lauren began. I did it anyway, Jasmine interrupted. You humiliated me. It's documented, logged, witnessed. Mark stepped in, voice falsely casual. Come on, let's not get dramatic. She turned to him cold and direct. You recorded me, you laughed, you spilled soda on my work. I let it go. I'm not letting it go anymore. Then, another email, another alert. The room shifted. Someone gasped. The CEO's door opened. Slammed. Whispers flew. What is this? Tiana asked, voice cracking. Jasmine tilted her head. Pierce. As in Nathan Pierce. As in the man you called my imaginary boyfriend. She paused. He's real. And as of this morning, he holds majority control of this company. Lauren's voice cut through the silence. You're married to a billionaire? Jasmine looked at her, almost kindly. I had every right to prove myself on my own terms, but you never gave me that chance. Mark backed away. This is insane. What's insane, said a new voice, is that you all thought she was the weakest one here. They turned. Nathan stood at the entrance, no tie, no theatrics, just calm authority. He walked to Jasmine's side. I'm not here to threaten, he said, just to announce. As of today, all parties involved in Friday's incident are suspended pending HR review. Tiana erupted. You can't just walk in here and… Nathan raised his hand. Ms. Hayes, you're no longer speaking to a peer. You're speaking to the owner. Lauren gathered her things. Leave the laptop, Jasmine said gently. And the badge. Security arrived. 3 desks emptied. The room fell quiet, not with curiosity, but consequence. Jasmine turned to Nathan. That wasn't for me. No, he replied. It was for every woman like you who's ever been told to shrink. She nodded, then sat. The monitor, the keyboard, they were the same. But the space wasn't, because she wasn't hiding anymore. Her inbox overflowed. Apologies, questions, HR forms. She opened her report and began. She scanned each message without hesitation. Her heartbeat steady, her focus razor sharp. At 11 a.m., a gentle knock interrupted her concentration. 3 soft taps on the glass wall of her workspace. Deborah Wong, Senior VP of Strategy, stood there, an executive who rarely addressed analysts. She clutched a black folder close. Ms. Carter, Deborah said, voice formal and a little unsure. The executive board would like to meet with you. 15 minutes. Conference room 12. Jasmine nodded calmly. I'll be there. Deborah blinked, surprised by Jasmine's poise, then exited without another word. Jasmine rose and adjusted her blazer. As she walked through the office, co-workers glanced her way, not with mockery or gossip, but with curiosity. Some quickly averted their eyes. Others held her gaze a moment longer, silently acknowledging the change in her. Conference room 12 boasted floor-to-ceiling windows revealing Chicago's towering skyline, glass skyscrapers looming like giants. The board members sat in a semicircle, tablets and steaming coffee cups before them. Nathan was absent, intentionally. This was her stage now. Deborah motioned to the seat at the head of the table. Jasmine took her place. Thomas Greer, interim CEO with streaks of gray in his hair, steepled his fingers. Ms. Carter, he began, on behalf of the board, we deeply regret the incident last week. I personally reviewed the video. It was unacceptable. Thank you, Jasmine responded evenly. I assume legal is handling the matter? He nodded. Yes, but that's not why you're here. She sensed the electricity in the room, tension crackling beneath the surface. Effective immediately, Greer announced. We are promoting you to Director of Data Strategy. You will lead your department, restructure analytics workflows, and report directly to the executive team. Your salary will reflect the new role. He slid a polished leather folder across the table. Jasmine opened it. The offer was generous beyond expectations. The title, the authority, the autonomy, everything she'd quietly fought for. All eyes were on her. She paused, then said, I accept, with one stipulation. Greer raised a brow. Go on. I want to launch a task force dedicated to improving workplace culture, enforcing ethics, and managing anonymous complaints, real protections, not just empty presentations. For everyone, especially those without a voice. A beat. Greer leaned back, arms folded. That's unconventional. Exactly. Jasmine smiled. After a brief silence, he nodded. Consider it done. That afternoon, Jasmine stepped into her new glass-walled office nestled in the building's northeast corner. Sunlight poured over a sleek walnut desk and shelves of untouched marketing trophies. She set down a framed photo of her mother beside a vase of white tulips, a note tucked beneath. Nathan's handwriting. For the storms you survived, and the ones you now command. Seated, she opened her laptop and caught her reflection in the screen's glass. Herself, only taller. Not in stature, but in presence, confidence, and calm. The elevator climb to the 14th floor was unusually slow, each floor light chiming softly, marking her rise not just physically but professionally and personally. The hallway was silent but not empty. Calm, purposeful. She passed the bullpen where weeks earlier she'd endured ridicule. Now it was just work. No sneers. No whispers. Change wasn't born in silence. It came with action. Her office basked in golden morning light. The plaque on her desk read, Jasmine Carter, Director of Data Strategy, Leadership and Integrity. She almost laughed. She hadn't needed a title to embody integrity, but it felt good to be recognized. From her desk drawer, she pulled out letters written over the weekend. No accusations, no bitterness, just honesty. One to Amy, the HR intern who'd avoided eye contact but later returned with an apology. One to Deborah Wong, thanking her for listening. One to Thomas Greer, to remind him of his promise about the new Culture Task Force, now named the Carter Initiative. 3 others addressed to Tiana, Mark, and Lauren. She forgave Tiana, not because it was owed, but because she deserved peace. Jasmine folded the letters, slipped them into a cloth envelope, and placed it in the outgoing tray. No witnesses, no defenses. Let the truth settle quietly with their morning routines. Her phone buzzed. Nathan Pierce, Tech Board approved the internship program. Want to announce together? She smiled. Absolutely. But let's do it in the atrium. Everyone should hear this, not just the executives. Later, standing in the expansive glass atrium, employees gathered on balconies overhead. Phones stopped clicking, conversations hushed. She took the microphone, voice steady and assured. I've been here 2 years. For the first time, I feel truly seen. Eyes met hers, not with pity, not with doubt, but respect. Real change begins with accountability, empathy, and grace, even for those who don't ask for it. The silence that followed was heavy with meaning. Then applause, not the kind that follows a flashy presentation, but the kind that happens when truth lands deep. Jasmine didn't smile for the crowd. She smiled for herself. That night, barefoot on the lake house deck, a mug of tea in hand, Nathan's arm around her waist, moonlight shimmered across the water. You burned the whole house down, he said softly. No, she whispered, resting her head on his shoulder. I just opened the windows and let the storm in. He chuckled. Grace and thunder. Always both. The wind swept over the lake, and in that quiet moment, Jasmine Carter finally felt what had long eluded her. Not power, not pride, but peace. A storm weathered, a woman transformed.